Okay, I think there's a little bit of a delay in our live streaming.
Okay.
Okay, seems to be working just fine.
Yeah, I can hear you.
The stream health is good. It's not excellent, but that's okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna have to mute that. If you have the YouTube open, you should probably mute it because then you're gonna be hearing like me 2 times.
Yeah, it's muted, don't worry.
Ahla wa sahla. We got somebody watching. It's 3 people.
That's great. Lena Shomali has just subscribed to our channel. So let's start. And anybody who wasn't able to join can definitely catch up later. So good evening. My name is Georgina and welcome to GEG Amman's monthly webinar series number 2. I'm joined by my co-host this evening who can introduce himself.
معتصم الكسواني كيف الحال؟ إن شاء الله كل بخير. اليوم أنا والجوجل ترينر جورجينا مع بعض بدنا نحكي لكم عن آخر التطورات في جي سويت.
So we're super excited. It is the second webinar series for GEG Amman, and it is actually the last one of 2019. So we're pretty excited. There's some pretty awesome G Suite updates that were just released a few days ago. So stay tuned for those at the end of the call.
في عندنا شوية شغلات بدنا نحكي لكم عنها اليوم، التعديلات اللي صارت في الجي سويت. طبعا هاي حتكون آخر فيديو للسنة هاي. طبعا كل عام وانتم بخير للجميع، وإن شاء الله السنة الجاية يعني راح يكون في فعاليات أكتر وتطورات أكتر من جوجل ومنا.
And we would love for you guys to join us on the live agenda so that you can add any questions that you may have during today's session, which is on the last slide of the agenda. So if you can click on the link inside the live chat.
في رابط في الشات تبع اليوتيوب، إذا بتحبوا تكبسوا عليه تضغطوا عليه. إذا على اللابتوب بيفتح معكم دوكيمنت جديدة بتقدروا تحطوا فيها الأسئلة تبعتكم بالآخر على أساس لما نوصل هناك نجاوبكم عليها. لو كتبتوا بالعربي أو بالإنجليزي عادي، إحنا bilingual.
Super excited that Mutassim is here to help me with the Arabic today because, as you all know, my Arabic has much to be improved still, so that's great. So we'll get started then with the second slide. We wanted to use a different format this time around. For those of you who joined the first webinar series, we used a Google Doc to show an example of a hyperdoc that you could use in the classroom with your students.
للي ما كانوا عندنا معنا المرة الماضية، احنا استخدمنا جوجل دوكيمنت المرة الماضية عشان نفرجيكم كيف ممكن انتم تستخدموا هاي الدوكيمنت مع طلابكم كهايبر دوكيمنت.
So this time around, we wanted to use the Google Slides to show you that you can actually do similar effect with various different G Suite applications. So we're going to host today's session in a Google Slide presentation, which you will learn about later on in the presentation, how you can use innovatively to engage your students in the classroom.
اليوم راح يكون مختلف شوية، راح نعمل العرض تبعنا على جوجل سلايدز. بإمكانكم تتابعوا علينا تشوفوا إيش الجوجل سلايدز وكيف أنتم ممكن تستخدموا هذا الشيء في غرفكم الصفية مع طلابكم عشان تتفاعلوا معهم بشكل فعال أكثر.
So on the second slide for the agenda is the contact information for GEG Amman. So you're able to follow us on Twitter, on Instagram. We also have a Facebook group where we share out upcoming events and tips and tricks for G Suite. There are several G Suite for Education groups on Facebook actually, so we try and grab everything we can to share in the GEG Amman group as well. And as you're all watching the live stream, you have access to the GEG Amman YouTube channel, so you can find us using that information for contact details. And moving on, sorry, go ahead.
الصفحة الثانية عبارة عن التويتر والإنستغرام والفيسبوك واليوتيوب تبع GEG عمان. إذا بتحبوا تتابعونا على هاي الصفحات كلها عشان تضلكم متواصلين معنا على آخر تطورات.
So for those of you who are joining live, if you could go ahead and just comment in the live chat your name and where you're joining us from and which school you're currently working at. That way we know who's joining us. And if you're joining us after the effect and watching this late, please go ahead and drop that information down. Anyway, we're always excited to find out where people are joining us from and seeing how we can build our professional learning network together.
اللي بيسمعونا إذا بتقدروا تحطوا اسمكم ومن أي مدرسة أنتوا جايين عشان نتعرف عليكم، وبرضه اللي بيجي بعدين برضه ممكن يكتب مين هو ومن أي مدرسة.
So as you will know, myself, Georgina, and Mutassim, we are joining you from Amman, Jordan. My information is located on the left as well as Mutassim's information on the right. So if you would like to reach out and connect with either of us, we'd be happy to join your professional learning networks that way. Currently working at an international nonprofit school in Amman, a certified Google for Education trainer and the leader for GEG Amman.
طبعا جورجينا بتشتغل في مدرسة غير ربحية، وهلا هي عمالها تطور في مجموعة عمان هي اللي بلشتها. وأنا اسمي معتصم الكسواني ومدير تنفيذي في مدارس تنوير الأهلية، وبرضه ساعدت في إنشاء هذه المجموعة، وعندي برضه مكتب لتدريب واستشارات للدمج التعليمي الإلكتروني في المدارس.
Oh, Lena's joined us. Hi, Lena. How are you?
أهلاً أنسة دينا. أهلاً لينا. Welcome, welcome.
And who's the person joined us with the Arabic writing?
That is one of my teachers.
Do they have a name?
Yeah, Dina.
Oh, that's Dina. So Lena and Dina have joined us. Hi, how are you? Super nice to have both of you join the live stream. We're really excited to share some pretty cool Google for Education updates. So hope you have a nice hot drink to keep you warm and you're comfy in your home and set to go.
إن شاء الله تكونوا قاعدين ومبسوطين، وهلا بدنا نبلش.
Okay, so let's get started with the agenda. So moving on to slide number 4, we have changed it up a little bit. So from the Google Doc last time where everything was listed in a table format and hyperlinked, we're using more of an infographic style with images that you can actually click on. So when you hover over and you click on one of the images, you'll see that the hyperlink is activated at the bottom. So you can just click on that link and it will take you to the correct place in the agenda. So I'll let you translate that, Mutassim.
الحلو في الجوجل سلايدز انه بتقدروا طبعا تعملوا كل سلايد لها لينك على صورة معينة او على كلمة معينة. فلما انت تيجي تكبس على مثلا GEG عمان ديسمبر راح يوديك على سلايد 5، جنبها سلايد 6 جنبها 15. فبتقدروا تعملوا هذا الاشي في السلايد تبعونكم على اساس انه اي موضوع مهم تقدروا من هون تعملوا لينك لها.
So this is a really nice way that you can set up a lesson for your students as well. Instead of just having a new piece of content on each slide or each page of a Google Doc, you can actually have it embedded behind an image to create an infographic to hook your students for their attention and maintain it as you're going through. It's more of an interactive process this way. So we'll go ahead and get started with the agenda. So we're going to just take a quick look at the December highlights for GEG Amman, looking at what we did last month. And then we'll go through some G Suite updates to give you some of the product updates, which were not that many this month. So that gives us lots of time to take a look at some Googley-Treats for the month of December and a little bit of time at the end for question and answer.
طيب هلا بدنا نبلش في ديسمبر الاشياء اللي عملناها مجموعه جوجل، وبعدين بدنا نحكي شويه عن الجي سويت، التعديلات اللي صارت والتطورات. بعدين هيك في عندنا هيك شويه اشياء حلوه راح تعجبكم بالاخر، الجوجل تريتس. وبعدين بالاخر راح يكون في كيو ان اي، انه اذا في عندكم اي اسئله او شيء تقدروا تسالوا عنهم بالاخر. جاهزين؟ Let's go.
Yay! Okay, so let's go ahead and click on GEG Amman's December highlights. So that will take us to slide number 5. And Dina says you can use it on your computer now. Yes, you can. You have access to view using the link above, Dina. Can you click on the link above?
في الرابط اللي فوق عند دينا، إذا أنت على لابتوب تقدر.
Okay, so we'll just review the highlights while Dina is getting sorted with the link. So taking a look...
Looks like Lena's having an issue also. Is the document opening?
Are you not able to access the document, ladies? Let me take a look here.
I don't see anybody but me and you on the document.
Okay, let's just re-get the link then. Hold on 1 second. Anyone with the link, and we'll copy it. Done. And I'll paste it again here. Okay, can you try that now, ladies, and see if that link works?
بروح للحاسوب انا والتليفون. خلص إذا ما عندك لابتوب خليكي على التليفون، مش مشكلة، على راحتك تقدر تفتحيه بعدين بس تخلص.
So
she was using her phone, so when she would click it, she would leave the YouTube. So I just told her just to watch
yes,
the
of
video,
course.
and then she would just go back to the presentation.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's one of the things with the phone app. If you're listening to YouTube, it actually pauses if you want to use another application on your phone. So
إذا في عندكم أي أسئلة اكتبوها جوا اليوتيوب chat تبع اليوتيوب. If you have any questions, just write it in the YouTube chat.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so looking at the GEG Amman's December highlights, we can see there that we had our first meetup in December at Bunfellows Cafe. So if anyone from Bunfellows is tuning in, thank you very much for your hospitality. Such a warm and cozy environment, as you can see from the decor on the walls. Really large space, and the owners were super friendly and helped us put the tables together to collaborate. So it was really a wonderful day.
كان في الاجتماع في بنفيلوز كافيه في أم السماق. شكرا لكم كثير اللي بتابعونا. إذا في حدا فيهم عمال بيتفرج على الفيديو أو بيشوف الفيديو بعدين، شكرا لكم كثير إنكم استضفتونا، وعن جد كانت زيارة كثير ممتعة. وإذا أي حدا اللي يجوا برضه عنده أي استفسار أو شيء عن الاجتماع برضه ممكن يراجعنا بعدين نحكي فيهم.
It was a really, really awesome day, and from the feedback we had from the people who joined us, which were about 15 of us, They really had a lot of fun getting to meet other people from different schools in our local region of Amman, and we played some fun games together, like introducing your partner to each other, something that you can do when we think about digital time versus FaceTime. It's something you can do to incorporate the two using a tool like Flippity, where you can actually spin a wheel to pick somebody's name, but then you're using that FaceTime to actually interact and introduce each other to the group.
لعبنا شوية هيك ألعاب حلوة مع بعض. كيف تعرفنا على بعض عن طريق لعبة اسمها فليبري. استخدمنا كان في زي دائرة، وكان الكل لما يجي اسمه بده يعرف عن زميله اللي جنبه، فكتير هاي أداة حلوة للغرف الصفية أو أي مكان، يعني ممكن للتعارف والنشاطات اللي شبيهة في هاي الشغلات.
And I'm pretty sure our other GEG Amman team member, Saja, who's a Google certified trainer that was joining us, her picture is in the top right, was saying one of her favorite activities was the Google Doc bingo that we played together to get to know each other, our interests, hobbies, favorite ed tech tools, and just a whole bunch of other things. So it is something you can do through Google Classroom, is set up a bingo card, which can be done through Google Docs, and you can play it that way with your class.
في كمان مدربة سجا أكثر شيء هي حكت إنه انبسطت منه اللي هو البينجو. لعبنا البينجو عن طريق الجوجل كلاس روم، شبكناهم مع بعض وخلينا الكل كل اللي ربحوا بالبينجو أخذوا جوائز. كانت نشاط كتير حلو، وبرضه يعني هذه كلها عشان أنتوا تستوحوا منها أفكار ونشاطات ممكن أنتوا تستخدموها بصفكم مع طلابكم.
So we're really excited to meet everybody again, and others who would like to join us. If you're in the region locally, come on out. We're planning on having a meetup once every quarter. So our next meetup will be either in February or March, so stay tuned for that. We also have another event coming up in January, which we're going to announce at the end of the call. So stay tuned and don't go anywhere for that.
طبعا احنا راح يكون في عندنا اجتماع رسمي ثاني، راح يكون في شهر 2 أو 3 لأي حدا بده يجي، بس راح يكون في برضه مفاجأة حلوة أعلنا عنها، اللي هي ورشة تدريبية في شهر 1، فبتمنى إنه الكل يكون موجود في هاي الورشة، راح كتير تكون حلوة.
And on to, I see somebody has joined our live agenda. So Dina or Lena, one of you were in successfully, so that's great. We are now going to move on to slide number 6, which is the G Suite updates.
اوكي، هلا بدنا نبلش احنا في التطورات اللي صارت في جي سويت مع بعد ما نحكي شوي عنهم راح نروح على الفقرات اللي بعدها عن الاجتماع إن شاء الله.
Okay, so this is another example of something that you can create with your students to create interactivity and really empower their creativity and creative problem solving by creating digital stories. They're called choice stories, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in choice learning later on in the agenda. But this is an example of how you can set it up where you have a board. So in this case, it would be a Google slide board, and you've created links inside the board to take you to other places in the story or in the agenda. Okay,
I'm going to try to translate that. That was a lot of information.
Sorry, I'll go slower next time.
فهلا هاي اللي هي اسمها what's it called? Choice
boards? Choice board.
Choice boards. Okay, so اسمها choice boards. عن طريقها بنقدر يكون في برضه هاي نشاط تفاعلي مع الطلاب، انه ينقوا ايش ممكن المواضيع هاي اللي بدهم يحكوا عنها. فهلا راح نفرجيكم كيف بنستخدمها هذا الشيء. All right.
Okay, great. So we'll get started. These are the main updates from the month of December for G Suite. So taking a look at box number 1, it basically is the what's new with G Suite for the month of November. So if you click on the link,
إذا بتكبسوا على الرابط اللي موجود في أول فقرة من الجي سويت أبديتس، تعديلات الجي سويت، راح يوديكم على التطورات، التعديلات، التحديثات اللي صارت على الجي سويت في شهر 11.
It will take you automatically to slide number 7.
راح توديكم وين؟ على سلايد رقم 7 على طول.
So here it tells us that this was released on the 2nd of December, and usually their PDF version containing all the updates for the month before is usually released within the first few days of the following month.
هم عادة كل شهر ببداية الشهر بيبعتوا PDF عن التغييرات والتطورات اللي صارت مع الجي سويت ببداية كل شهر. هذا كان في 2/12 وفيه شرح تفصيلي عن كل التعديلات اللي صارت على الجي سويت.
And this image is just a screenshot that I took of the Google Docs/PDF that I have embedded a link. So again, another example of a way to embed other resources and create that infographic piece. You can attach that to an image, or as you can see on the left-hand side, I've also embedded it inside the text. So that same link is connected to a portion of text on the slide.
حلو كتير I like what you did there. حاطة اللينك مع الصورة، فهي ماخذ الصورة من الPDF نفسه وبعدين عامل اللينك للأبديتس كلها. إذا بتكبس الصورة بتوديك على اللينك، وبرضه من الكتابة نفسها عاملة برضه رابط إنه لما تكبس على جوجل دوك PDF هاي برضه راح يطلع لك رابط بوديك على نفس الموقع اللي فيه كل التغييرات والتطورات هاي. Very nice.
So thanks. So I can't say it was my idea. G Suite obviously created all these tools for us, so thanks to G Suite. I just want to check in with the ladies. Dina and Lena, are you able to click on the links in the agenda okay?
Yeah, Dina says it works.
Great. And Lena?
I think there's only one person on here. I'm not sure who it is.
I
think it's Dina.
Okay, that's fine, no problem. We're happy to have you, Dina, and I'm sure people will get a chance to watch this later. We really just have to say too, it being the holiday season and probably everybody is spending time with their families right now. Those who are not on holidays, you definitely have work tomorrow, so it's a tricky time. So we're happy to have you, Dina, and for everybody else who's watching after the fact, that's great. So if you would like to read up on all the updates for the month of November, you can click on that PDF and go through the updates. And they also have links in there as well to all the tools that you need in videos.
في كل اللينكس والفيديوهات لكل التطورات اللي صارت خلال شهر 11 لكل التطبيقات تبع جي سويت لما تدخلوا على الملف.
All right, so on to the second update. We are going to look at box number 2 is the drive file suggestions in Google Chrome. So if you click on the link, that will take us to slide number 8. And this is a really cool feature. G Suite have given us a gift to illustrate that for us, which is really lucky because in my ability to live stream this video, it's a bit tricky going between windows right now. So I'm grateful for that.
هلا بدنا نبلش نحكي عن جوجل كروم، التطبيق اللي بتقدر انت تنزله عشان يساعدك في نقل ملفاتك بشكل اسهل.
So basically with this feature, this is really, really intuitive from G Suite. Basically, you can search now for files that exist in your Google Drive directly in a Chrome browser.
هلا هذا إشي جديد حلو كتير إنه أنت هلا بتقدر تعمل بحث عن ملف إلك جوا الكروم براوزر. Is this an extension or is this?
No, this is built right into Chrome now.
Okay. هلا بجوجل كروم نفسه تقدر انت تعمل بحث عن اي ملف موجود عندك في الدرايف وعلى طول هو بصير يدور لك عليه. Can you zoom in on the GIF?
Let's see if that's going to be possible. I'm going to zoom. I don't know if it's actually going to zoom to the correct place in the live stream. I'm going to look over on my iPad and check. Hopefully that was helpful. I do want to say something just to be clear though. I've actually written it in the slide as well. You'll only be able to search for files that you have opened already. So for example, we have this webinar agenda open on Chrome. So after it's closed, we can search for it again because we've already had it open.
اوكي سو اللي بتحكيه جورجينا هلا انه الملفات اللي بدور عليها الكروم لازم انت اصلا تكون فاتحها من قبل عن طريق الكروم بالبراوزر تبع الكروم عشان هو يعرف انت على ايش عمالك بتدور. فهاي شغله مهمه برضو احنا ننتبه لها لما نعمل سيرش نكون فاتحين الملف من قبل.
Great. So I'm going to minimize it. Uh-oh, not that much. Hold on. I have to keep looking over on my iPad to make sure that we're still in the correct space. Okay, good. All right, so moving on. If there's any questions, Lena, please go ahead and post them in the chat window. We're happy to answer them as we go or at the end in the Q&A. All right, so for number 3, the update is for improvements to Google Sites. Actually, I think it looks like Google Sites was quite an area of improvement overall for G Suite this month because there are several updates belonging to Google Sites. So let's take a look.
I love Google Sites. هلا بدنا ندخل على مواقع الجوجل. اوكي هذه احلى شغله في الجي سويت انا برايي. I think this is the best part of G Suite. I love it.
Yeah.
في تعديلات كتير حلوة عملوها هلا راح نشوف شو هي مع بعض على الجي سويت.
So Google Sites is basically, for those of you who are new to G Suite and watching, it's basically an application that allows its users to create a website. So it is the application that I'm building my current website on, redefineeducation.com. I don't know, Mutassem, if you're using it for yours or?
Actually, I'm still in the process of setting a few things up, but I might have one from Google Sites.
I kind of put him on the spot, to be fair to him. So
Yeah.
But it is really amazing, and I know for myself, I'm teaching some creative media classes in secondary school and high school right now, and my year 12s love using Google Sites to curate all of their content material, all their presentations and their videos that they're doing. It's like a one-stop shop for their assignments. They're pretty doing a good job at impressing all their teachers with that, that's for sure.
Nice. So how old are the kids?
And year 12, they should be around 16.
Okay, year 12. So عندي في المدرسة اللي بتشتغل فيها جورجينا الطلاب اللي بالصف العاشر 16 سنة عمرهم هلا شغالين على الجوجل سايتس وعمالهم بيحملوا شغلهم عليه وكتير لاقين ردة فعل إيجابية من الأهل ومن المدرسة نفسها والمعلمين.
So with the Google Site updates that have just come out now, which are really exciting, there are release features where you can now add captions to images and do like an image carousel. So you've probably seen it on other websites where you can enter a website and there's like images that are moving across the screen. This is like an image carousel. So now Google Site has added that option.
اوكي سو هاي كثير حلوه كمان. جوجل سايتس هلا صار بامكانك انه انت تحط صور مجموعه صور بدل ما يكونوا ثابتين بصيروا ايش يتحركوا لحالهم. لما انت بتبرمجها بطريقه انه هم بضلهم يقلبوا لحالهم حسب السايتس الطريقه اللي انت بدك تقلبهم فيها وبكونوا هم بيمشوا بتحركوا فبيعملوا زي انتراكتيف تفاعلي اكثر بيكون مع اللي بيشاهدوا هذا الشيء.
And in that first link here where I've embedded the help link for adding captions to images is also the part where you can add the transition. So you can actually specifically state how much time you want each picture to be showing on the screen before it transitions to the second one.
بالضبط، هذا نفس الشيء اللي هلا انا حكيته، انه انت بتقدر تحدد كم من ثانيه او قديش بدك فتره زمنيه بين كل صوره او Hello.
I'm still there. You might want to repeat what you just said though, because we didn't catch it.
اوكي كنت بحكي هلا هون موجود في عندك زي ما حكينا انه بتقدر انت تحط الصور وبتقدر تحط عليها كلمات، بتقدر تحط عدد من الثواني، كم ثانية بدك بين كل صورة والثانية.
I zoomed in a little bit there. Thanks for the tip, Mutessem. Okay, the third part to that is hiding the headings from the table of contents. So that's this image on the bottom left. You can actually show the table of contents or hide them, kind of like in a Google slide presentation where we can see this left part of the, it's like a table of contents also, and into the presentation mode. So it's a nice feature add-on.
فهاي برضو كمان شغلة تانية اللي هي الصورة اللي تحت على الشمال. If you can zoom in on the bottom left one, you said,
yeah.
right? الصورة اللي تحت على الشمال هون موجود فيها اللي هو table of contents اللي هي بيكون فيها المواضيع كلها، تقدر أنت تخفي هذا الشيء إنه ما يبين.
Awesome. And then the last update is for choosing between different styling options for buttons. So before you could only actually choose whatever's available to you, but now you actually have different options to add buttons, and buttons basically allow you to embed the links, kind of like what we're doing in the Google slide. So it makes sense that when people are visiting the websites, they can click to take them to other areas of the Google site or other content resources for the lessons.
على السايتس من قبل كان بإمكانك أنت تحط، لهلا تقدر تحط كبسات عشان تروح على صفحات تانية، بس ما كنت تقدر أنت تتحكم في الشكل تبع الكبسة نفسها، بس هلا صار بتقدر تغير الشكل وتظبطها زي ما أنت بدك.
Oh, welcome Hazem. I saw Hazem just joined us. Sorry to interrupt you, Mutassem. We're just going over to say hi to Hazem. How are you, Hazem?
هلا حازم بيك.
And I believe it's Lena that says she hopes to use Google Sites at her school as well. Super exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing what it comes up with.
Yeah, I'm going to be training our primary teachers on how to use Google Sites at our school.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, they're going to love it.
Oh, they're gonna absolutely love it. It's such a great way for kids to create and really create their story, but in an interactive way for their viewers or their readers. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Excellent curation tool. Okay, so Hazem, are you able to, I'm going to just go ahead and drop the link again for the agenda so that you can follow along, Hazem, with us online live. There you go, my friend. And we will go back up to the next update, which I believe is also another, Google site update. There's 3 in a row. So number 4 is the view version history in Google Sites.
هلا بدنا ننتقل للتحديثات الثانية للجوجل سايتس. في كثير تحديثات للجوجل سايتس، في هاي السلايد، في كمان سلايد ثالثة بالنسبة لموضوع الفيرجن هيستوري اللي هي تاريخ التعديلات للجوجل سايتس. هاي زمان ما كانت موجودة وهلا ضافوها.
So when we click on number 4, it takes us over here, and I'm actually really pleased personally to see this update for Google Sites. It's an amazing feature where we can now actually see the changes that have happened in the Google site. So when we think about collaboration, maybe it's a group project, students are working on something to help with the city or the country that they're living in, or even a global initiative, and they want to collaborate either with other students in the class or in the school or internationally. They're actually working on the same Google site. So it's sometimes been hard in the past to see who's actually done what change to the site, right?
هذا التحديث كتير منيح، لأنه هلا أنت صار بإمكانك زي ما في الجوجل دوكيومنتس والسلايدز وفي الشيتس، تقدر أنت تشوف مين اللي عماله بيشتغل على الجروب بروجكت. لما يكون في عندك مجموعة من الطلاب وكلهم شغالين على سايت، أنت ما بتكون عارف فعليا مين اللي عمل التحديثات، وين وصل في هاي التحديثات، ومتى آخر مرة تعدل عليه، مين اللي عمل هذا التعديل. فهلا مع التعديل هذا بصير انت تقدر تعرف مين اللي عماله بيعدل، ومين اللي فعلا بيستحق العلامه، ومين اللي بادر في السايت بشغلها.
So a super awesome feature. Now we can click on all changes saved in Drive, just like you can when you're inside Google Drive itself, to see who has made the change. And I've kind of embedded that second image over top of the first one for you to be able to see it.
حطت صورة انه تقدر تشوف انت كيف تقدر تشوف مين اللي عمل التحديثات هاي.
So in order to view that, you only need to click on the 3 dots next to the publish button in order to see the version history. Now what's important with this is that it's going to be rolled out from now until March 2020 for new Google sites. So if today, after this call, you're super inspired and would like to go create your own Google site for your classroom, perhaps you want to curate your own content for your lessons, you will be able to have that version history update because G Suite are going to roll it out on a user per user basis. Go ahead, sorry.
هلا اي شيء جديد، اي جوجل سايت جديده انتم بتعملوها راح يبين عندكم التعديلات هاي، بس الاشياء القديمه للاسف ما راح تبين. What about if we copied an old site and we made a copy of it? You think that would work?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and they talked about that in the Q&A inside of the link that I've embedded here. I can go and just take a look at the answer. I don't remember the answer off by heart. Hold on one second.
Yeah, that would be great if you could just make a copy and then it would have everything new, just like as if it was brand new right now. فالسؤال اللي أنا سألته لجورجينا إنه طب هلا إذا إحنا عملنا نسخة عن السايت اللي أصلاً موجودة عندنا، هل التعديلات هاي بتتم على السايت الجديدة؟ فهي بدها تشيك لنا إياها هلا، وإحنا غلبناكي يا جورجينا.
So I'm gonna take a look because I don't want to close any windows that I shouldn't be closing on the call, but I'm gonna open the link to check on that. But I remember reading on that. Yeah, I'll check on it later, even if I have to add it at the bottom. I don't want to say yay or nay if I'm not 100% sure of the answer, but I will visit the link again to check. I'm pretty sure, however, it said that all old Google sites that were created would have that option added, the version history option, by the end of 2020. So they're kind of doing it on a per case use. I think what I want to make sure is clear, especially for the new G Suite users that are joining us today, when G Suite makes an update and your school is, or you have your own personal Google account, I have my own personal one, and your school also has one, G Suite will roll it out and it will either be a rapid release, which is like immediately, or it will be a scheduled release rollout where it happens over X period of time. So usually, like for myself at my school, as a Google admin, I have everything turned on for rapid release so that when features get updated, teachers can benefit from those immediately. But some schools have them on a scheduled release. So when you're looking at an update and you're thinking, oh, I see this active in my personal Google account, but it's not active in my school account, or perhaps you don't see it at all, it's a good idea to take a look at the G Suite release calendar, and I'll link that in at the end of the Google slide presentation as well after, to see exact details of when it's released and how, and to make sure you check in with your admin at your school to see if your school is on rapid or scheduled release.
طيب هلا في نوعين من الريليسز لما هم بيعملوا التحديثات هاي، بيكون في هم على مرحلتين. بيكون في مرحله سريعه انه انت بتكون اول الناس بتاخذ هذا التحديث، او انت بتكون حسب السكجول اللي هم حاطينه لجوجل اللي هو الشيء الرسمي. هلا بالنسبه للشيء الرسمي المفروض انه من هون لاخر سنه 2020 كل السايتس يكونوا مترحلين على على النسخه الجديده. بس بالنسبه للايميل تبعكم اذا انت تحت الجي سويت بدك تسال الادمن تبعك اللي مسؤول على الاي تي عندكم اذا السيتنجز بيكون في شيء في الاعدادات تبعتكم انه بتقدر الادمن يعطيكم الشغلات هاي كلها على طول اول ما تطلع، او حسب يعني السكجول اللي هم بيطلعوه على اساس تاخذوها انتم قبل الكل. هذا كله بيرجع للادمن والسيت اب تبعته كيف عاملها.
It's a really good point that we brought up. Actually, I should probably mention that at the beginning of all of the G Suite updates so that people understand, because I know that that's happened before where people are like, well, how come I see it in my personal and not at my school account, right? So, yeah. Okay, so moving on to the next one. The next one is an update also for Google Sites. The last one, it's update on Google Slide 11 if you're following along on the agenda. And this would be for reviewing changes in Google Sites. So this is really interesting because this, and I've put it there in the Google slide, this is an extended rollout that's started at the beginning of the month, but it's going to take probably longer than 15 days. So if you don't see it, don't worry, it's coming. And basically it's just the option, and I'm going to zoom in on the left for you to be able to review changes in draft before you actually publish your site. So you know there's a blue publish button on the top right hand side of the page. I'm just going to circle it there, publish. So before you click on that publish button, now you're going to be able to go to review changes, and you can see all the changes and just make sure that it's exactly how you want it, which is nice. It's kind of like reviewing one of your drafts, right, before you hand in your final version.
طيب هذه آخر شغلة بالنسبة للجوجل سايتس اللي هي بلشت في شهر 4/12/2019 بلشت. بس زي ما حكينا انه احنا ممكن يبلشوا هم ينزلوا هاي التحديث من هلا، بس بياخذوا وقت قبل ما فعليا يطلقوا للكل. هلا هذا التحديث اسمه ريفيو تشينجز، يعني انت بتقدر ايش تشوف كل التعديلات اللي صارت قبل ما انت تنشر السايت تبعتك. يعني ما في داعي انه انت تصير تدور انه وين الشغلات اللي انت غيرتها، بصير مبين عندك مين اللي ايش الاشي اللي انضاف، ايش تحرك، ايش الاشي اللي انشال على كل صفحه، على اساس انه تقدر اذا في اشي ناقص في اشي زايد تقدر تشيلهم قبل ما تعمل ببلش ويكون على النت اي حدا بيقدر يشوفه.
Great. All right, so I'm going to move right along because I'm just aware of the time. We have about 12 minutes left. I got quite a few awesome things to still fit in. So we'll move on to update number 6, which will take us to slide number 12. And it is dark mode available for Google Tasks on iOS. So, sorry, I'll let you translate that first.
طيب في عنا اللي هو خدمة الدارك مود اللي هو يكون مظلل، يعني يكون بالأسود بالنسبة للجوجل تاسكس على الاي او اس اللي هو الايفون.
So I don't know if you're like me, but someone who's got a lot of screen time going on every day, but dark mode definitely helps with the eyes. Of course, it's really important to always be looking away from your device at least every 20-30 minutes so that your eyes can blink and rehydrate. Sometimes there's a lot of faux pas against what is good for the eyes or not, but it's the fact for blinking. So it's important to look away. However, that being said, color tones are really important, and dark mode really does help a lot. So it's a really nice update feature. This is also a gradual 15-day release that started on the 3rd of December. So most users should see it now, and others, if you're not seeing it yet, it should come about soon.
هذا التعديل حلو كتير، لأنه إحنا كنا عارفين إنه لما إحنا بنقعد فترات طويلة على النت أو على الكمبيوتر أو على التليفون بصيروا عينينا يوجعونا، فإحنا عشان نختصر هاي الشغلة ممكن إنه نحول جوجل تاسكس ليكون الخلفية لونها سوداء، عشان هيك بيكون أريح للنظر تبعنا لما إحنا نتفرج على هاي الشغلات طول النهار. عينينا بصيروا حمر أو ممكن ينتفخوا شوي، بس مع الدارك مود بيكون يعني أخف الضرر.
And there's some links there if you'd like to figure out how to do that. For those of you who are interested in keeping yourself a little more organized, we're coming into the new year in 2020. Google Tasks is an awesome feature that allows you to organize things that you need to do and be able to check them off as you do them.
للي بحب انه يرتب حاله وينظم حاله هلا عشان سنه 2020 نبلش فيها الجوجل تاسكس اللي هي انت لما بيكون في عندك باختصار هي مهمات لجوجل. يعني انت لما بيكون في عندك مهمه اللي هي التاسك انت بتقدر تستخدم الجوجل تاسك وتعمل زي جدول لك او تضلك متبع عليهم عن طريق الجوجل.
And I'm just going to move my window over. I hope that I'm going to do this not in, oh no, it's going to lose the formatting. Okay, never mind. On the right-hand side of your slides or your Gmail, there are 3 tool buttons, calendar, keep, and tasks. So if you want a quick way to link your tasks in through your calendar, you can do that with the quick options on the right-hand side of your screen.
في عندنا هلا اللي فاتح على السلايدز في على اليمين في عندك الكالندر وفي عندك الكيب وفي عندك التاسكس اللي هي المهمات وفي عندك التخزين النوتات يعني والكالندر اللي هو الجدول. تقدر انت هدول ال3 ادوات تستخدمهم عن طريق جوجل برضه لتنظيم شغلك على طول يعني.
Okay, so moving right along then to the next update, which is for Hangouts. So this is really cool. Hangouts has been available for use on iOS for a long time, and it's now available for Windows users on Internet Explorer 11. That was just released, that update, on the 4th of December. And you need to make sure, please, that you need to download the plugin in order to use it because it is turned off by default. So that's really important to remember.
And you should not be using Internet Explorer in 2020. Google Chrome is the way to go.
You heard it from someone else.
اللي بيستخدم الانترنت اكسبلورر بيقدر ينزل هلا الهانج اوتس عن طريق الانترنت اكسبلورر. تقدر تنزل بلجن موجود هي الرابط هون. واذا انت بتستخدم انترنت اكسبلورر لازم تحول على الجوجل كروم احسن لك.
So we'll let you guys click on those if you are a Windows user and would like to download that. Okay, I'm really excited about this last feature update. We have only 8 minutes left, so I feel like I'm running out of time. I guess it goes a little faster if we have to stop to translate all the time, but it's totally worth it because I want to make sure this is accessible to all our team members. So
لازم احنا هلا قربنا نخلص يعني ما فيش ضايل وقت كتير بس انه المرات عشان موضوع الترجمه عمال بياخذ معنا وقت اكثر بس يعني احنا مبسوطين بالعكس يعني مش موضوع الترجمه الانجليزي للعربي حب على قلبنا زي العسل يعني زي ما بيحكوا.
Okay, so the last G Suite update, actually, I would just like to pause for a second. There were some other updates that were supposed to happen in December. So I just want to clarify, if you heard through the grapevine that these updates were supposed to be happening, they've actually been moved to be updated on the 13th of January. Those features are all related to calendar and Gmail. So for example, if you heard about you can send an email inside an email, like attach an old email into a new email to send to somebody, that feature is coming, but they're going to hold off on releasing it for another month to make sure they've got everything properly running.
وللي كان في تحديثات كان بيستناها او كان عارف عنها وما حكينا عنها هذه انه تأجلت في تحديثات تأجلت لشهر 1 عشان موضوع الجيميل وموضوع الكالندر اذا تبعت ايميل جوا ايميل كل هذا تأجل لشهر 1 بس يصير نحكي لكم.
It's always important to tackle hearsay. So just in case you'd heard that through the grapevine, it is coming. They're just going to wait till it's fixed. So the last G Suite update is probably my favorite update of all for this month. To finish off 2019 with a massive bang comes 4 new G Suite resources.
هلا آخر إشي بدنا نحكي عنه بالنسبة للجي سويت اللي هي في عنا 4 شغلات هلا احنا رح نحكي عنها. هذه كتير حلوه ضافوها على رح نستخدمها على الجي سويت. تقدروا انتم تستخدموها هلا رح نشوف كيف.
So basically, each of these links will open a new section, and I've taken a little screenshot of what each of those sections look like. It was just released a few days ago on the 18th of December.
هدول اللقطات احنا حطيناهم صور عن التريتس هاي تبعت الجوجل اللي حاطينها وما لهاش يعني بس 10 ايام تقريبا بس طالعين.
So basically, it's 4 new ways that you can use G Suite for education in a modern way, is how G Suite have worded it. I would like to call it a creative, innovative way for our classrooms.
فهم جوجل حاكين انه انت تقدر تستخدم الجي سويت بطرق ابداعيه لل 2020 وهذه الاشياء اللي هم فرجونا اياها اللي احنا بنقدر هلا نسويها.
And just be careful when you're going through these links because G Suite often talk to organizations and business users. Obviously, G Suite is well aware that education is a big organization and set of people that do use their services as well. But don't think if you read organization or business that it means that it's just for those work environments. No, it is available for education and it's all about how we use them. Yeah?
في شغله اذا بتقراوا التعميمات تبعت جوجل انه اذا انت بتقرا انه بيحكوا هم مؤسسات او شركات هم عارفين انه في معلمين برضه بيستخدموا الجي سويت فهم يعني الحكي تبعهم موجه للكل مش بس للشركات والمؤسسات.
So basically, it's basically added into 4 different you know how we differentiate teaching and learning in the classroom, right? So it's a little bit like that. So the G Suite Welcome Center is basically if you're brand new to Google and it's different ways that you can learn to use the tools.
في عندكم الجي سويت ويلكم سنتر اللي هو ترحيب جي سويت تقدروا انتم تروحوا عليه وبيفرجوكم كيف تقدروا تستخدموا هاي الادوات لاول مره.
And then the second link, I'll just get out of there, is for Hangouts Meet Starter Kit.
والرابط الثاني اللي هو الهانجاوتس.
So basically,
starter kit برضه نفس الشيء.
Yeah, so basically some schools are able to use this and some schools not, a little bit related to privacy and safety, online safety, so it's at the school's discretion of course. But if your school is in a place where students have built healthy digital habits and they're ready to use Hangouts in a responsible way for teaching and learning, or perhaps the teacher would like to facilitate it as a whole class experience to collaborate with another school in the area or a school globally, then this would be a good place to start for that.
الهانج اوتس ميت مش كل المؤسسة مش كل المدارس بيفعلوها. ممكن إذا في وعي عند الطلاب وعند المعلمين عن طريقة استخدام هاي الأداة التطبيق هذا إنه يجتمعوا مع صفوفهم بعد المدرسة عن طريق الفيديو بيقدروا يستخدموها حسب التعليمات اللي موجودة في مدارسكم.
And the last 2 are, I would say, for intermediate and then advanced users. So G Suite for power users is this one on the right hand side, and they've kind of got like a little calendar guy lifting weights. I really love that, related to the word power. Again, that whole visual concept of being stronger with the tools. So how can we challenge ourselves? How can we challenge our students in the classroom? So take a look at that. There are a bunch of links underneath that you can click on to do some cool challenges that might even inspire new ways that you could use these things to challenge your students for their learning objectives in class.
رقم 3 عندنا الجي سويت للمستخدمين الأقوياء. إذا ملاحظين هون الصورة اللي على اليمين هاي وقاعد برفع هو أثقال لأنه قوي هو في الجي سويت. فبتقدر أنت تدخل من هون على الرابط هذا وتشوف إيش في نشاطات ممكن انتشارات متقدمة شوي تستخدمها مع طلابك.
And then the last one is G Suite Hack for Power Users. I'm really excited to see that language in the G Suite links and everything, because I'm always talking about hacking in an educational sense. I always excite my students in the classroom by telling them, okay, we're going to hack a new app today. And obviously now they've gotten used to the fact that that's an educational hack, but it's basically to explore and discover and learn how to use new applications to enhance learning. So this is really exciting.
الحلو انه هم هلا استخدموا الشغله الرابعه نفس الباور يوزرز هذول في هاكس في اشياء انه انت تقدر تهكر في الجي سويت انه تستخدمها في طريقه اسهل واسرع لطلابك.
And so in here, with the power users, the hack for power users, it's really advanced challenges. And I want to say that I was really impressed with the way G Suite again used their language to make it not sound so scary for the average users to give it a try. So we're always trying to encourage students to raise up a little bit, you know, to meet that challenge, to be risk takers. And so G Suite is trying to encourage users and educators like all of you to take that same risk, to take that challenge. So definitely something that I personally am looking forward to diving into this week as well.
طبعا هاي كلها عبارة عن تحديات الهاكينج هذول كلهم عبارة عن تحديات من الجي سويت لمستخدمين الجي سويت فكتير حلو انه انتم تقرأوا هاي الشغلات وتطبقوها تحاولوا تطبقوها مع طلابكم عشان ايش؟ انه كل واحد يصير يحكي انه انا عملت الهاك تبع الجي سويت.
And if any of you are looking to train your teachers or train your schools, this is an excellent place for you guys to start. I mean, I know we have the Getting Started with G Suite Google for Education email series that came out, which is these little 15-minute bursts of professional PD that's online and free to do at your own pace that comes out on every Tuesday of the week. But this is another great place that you can really give teachers that time in that professional development time, maybe an hour or 2 hours a week, where they can sit down and spice up their Google skills.
طبعا بتقدروا تستخدموا هاي الشغلات يعني بدها 10 دقائق ربع ساعة كل أسبوع هيك تقعدوا وتستخدموها هاي في طرق إبداعية مع طلابكم.
Okay, so I'm taking a look at the time. I know that it's 8 o'clock, and I obviously did not do a good job at estimating the time because I have to remember that we are translating in 2 languages. So I'm pretty happy because if it was just in one language, I think I would have been fine for time. I'm gonna try and go a little faster. If you guys have time to stay and hang out with us, would love to share these last 3 sections. It's super cool new tools that you can use in your classroom for term 2. So if you can hang out with us, I'll try and go through them a little quicker. Yeah, maybe 15-20 minutes.
احنا مش راح نطول يعني بدنا كمان ربع ساعة ثلث ساعة بدنا نحاول نمشي في هاي النشاطات سريعا يعني بس كلها يعني راح تكون شغلات خفيفة الدم هيك وراح تقدروا تستخدموها مع طلابكم مع معلمينكم للتدريب.
So basically, on this slide says Googley-Treats, and I'm pretty excited because the last treat, the Google Goals, is from me, so I'll share that at the end, but these 2 are something brand new that have just come out this week for myself, so I'm really excited to share those with you. So let's take a look first at icon boarding.
هلا احنا بدنا نبلش هون على الايقونات هاي اللي موجوده في السلايد هذا على اساس احنا نبلش في الشغل في السلايدات هاي.
So if we take a look at icon boarding, again, we've embedded this, and so it should take us to slide 16, which is icon boarding. So this is completely inspired by a guy named Matt Miller from America. He was a Spanish teacher for I think just over a decade, and then he opened up his own consultancy, and he is the CEO of Ditch That Textbook.
في what was his name?
Matt Miller.
Matt Miller هو صاحب الفكرة هاي تبعت ايكون بوردينج وصاحب شركة Ditch That Textbook يعني سيبك من الكتاب هذاك ما بدنا اياه. هو اللي بلش في الايكون بوردينج هاي وعنده هو شركة استشارات بالنسبة لحوسبة المناهج.
So Matt is actually running, I think he said this is his 4th year doing it. He runs an online conference twice a year, once in the summer for professional development and once in the winter time.
وكل سنة بيعمل اجتماعين أونلاين مرة في الصيف ومرة بالشتاء للمدرسين.
And believe it or not, it is the first year that I found out about it. So I've been doing this. If you want to check it out, I will also add the Ditch Summit link into the end of the Google slide presentation, but it's free online video PD. It's amazing. I've learned so much, including the icon boarding that I'm going to share now.
هي راح جورجينا تحط لنا الرابط تبع هذا الشيء بالسلايدات هذولي عشان احنا نقدر نشوف الفيديوهات هذه اللي عملنا اياها مات. شكرا لك.
And so with the icon boarding, it's basically how
عبارة عن زي تدريب إلكتروني.
Sorry. I'm still tweaking my ability to work with a co-host in translating. So thank you, Mutassim, for putting up with my long speeches. We'll work on that for next time.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Okay, so icon boarding. We talk about this whole idea of engaging students and getting them going through this creative process to create something, to express themselves, to have amplified student voice. So we look at digital storytelling.
بدنا نحكي هلا عن القصص المحوسبة عن الطريقة اللي بيعملها مات ميلر هاي، وبدنا احنا نشوف هلا كيف احنا ممكن هذا الاشي نستخدمه في صفنا.
So with digital storytelling, we can do it with video, we can do it on Google Drawings, we can do it on Google Slides, we can do it however we want. We can do it on paper and then photograph it and put it in Google Drive. There's tons of ways to do it. This is a brand new way that Matt has given us called icon boarding. So using a Google Slides and using a bunch of icons on the outside of the board, students then can right click and copy an icon and paste it on the board. They also have text boxes you see on the right, and they can add those to the board to create like a story map. Yeah, it's like one different way of boarding out their ideas, or at the end of a lesson when they've learnt content, how they can rephrase that content in a visual infographic way that's more appealing and more visual for them.
هلا الفكره من الايكون بورينج كلها انه بيكون في على السلايدز احنا بنعرف عن طريق الدوكيومنتس ممكن احنا نستخدم نعمل القصص من قبل. هلا بالسلايدز احنا بنحط ايقونات حوالين البوكس هاي اللي موجوده اللي فاضيه بالنص او هدول الاربع مربعات، وبنقدر احنا عن طريق هاي القصص نقيس مدى استيعاب الطلاب لافكار معينه بانه يمسكوا هاي الصور ويحطوها في البوكسات هاي ويرتبوها مثلا حسب قصة معينة.
So these two here, the one on the top is an example of a maths board. So students, if they've learned, you know, an algebra equation, they can retell their working process using icons. How did they solve the problem? We're really thinking about the idea of metacognition and students being able to explain how they've learned what the teacher asked them to learn. So it's not just a matter of we're taking in content, but how can we actually demonstrate that we've understood that content?
فبهاي الطريقة احنا بنقدر نخلي الطلاب يعرضوا كيف هم فهموا هاي المادة عن طريق مثلا هون حاطين رياضيات، اشياء حسابات، عن كيف بيستخدموا هاي الايقونات في جرد قصة صغيرة لهم حسب فهمهم للمادة.
And the one on the bottom is an art board. So if you're in art class or you want to make galleries, you can retell your boards that way. And there's not just those two. There's big like storyboards, comic board strips. He's got a whole bunch. So if you just click on icon boarding link that I've embedded in the Google slide, you'll be able to access all of those. And I've also embedded Matt Miller's website under Ditch That Textbook. So you'll be able to click on that and you can actually just go through and see all of the awesome resources that he's been building for well over 4 years. He's written 3 books. His 4th one is about to come out in April maybe not April, spring of 2020 is what he said on one of his calls earlier. So yeah, really check out this guy. His Twitter is linked into his name. So if you'd like to follow him on Twitter, there he is. You can click on his name. And I also just want to give a big shout out to Twitter and just say how happy I am to be able to use Twitter in a more productive way to network. I have met so many education leaders just by networking, tagging, following people, sharing resources, all thanks to Matt's awesome summit. But definitely use Twitter. You will learn and meet so many awesome people that way.
إذا بدك تعرف أكتر عن مات في التويتر تبعه معمول له لينك على اسمه هون وفي كمان الموقع تبعه اللي هو ديجيتال تكست بوك برضه على الهايبر لينك اللي بالأزرق بتقدر تدخل عليه وتشوفوا كل الشغلات الحلوة اللي هو له 4 سنين شغال عليها بخصوص الايكونز ايكون بوردينج وروي القصص وانه نصيحة انه يستخدموا التويتر لانه تتعرفوا على ناس من مدربين تانيين معلمين تانيين اللي يقدروا يفيدوكم بالطريقة هاي عن طريق التويتر. ممكن زي ما احنا تعرفنا على مات ميلر ممكن انتوا تتعرفوا على ناس تانيين برضو يفيدوكم في المسيرة تبعتكم على محوسبة المناهج.
So yeah, so I don't know what you think about this, Mutassim, this idea of icon boarding.
I think it's a great idea.
So you
It's a great idea.
Yeah, you can absolutely use these icon boards across any topic. Like we said, not just maths and art. You can use it in English if you're retelling a story or recounting all the way from primary grades all the way up to secondary and IB. It's definitely accessible for everybody. So it's one of my big shares today. I hope to see you guys use it. And if you are using it, please snapshot examples of how you're using it with your students. Tag GEG Amman on Twitter, tag GEG Amman on Instagram. I would love to share how we are using these tools creatively in Jordan.
And the best part is that you don't have to be bilingual to use the icon boards.
Yeah!
That's the best part. اي حدا بيستخدم هاي الايكون بولينج رجاء هيك صوروا لنا اعملوا لنا سكرين شوت للشغل اللي انتم بتشتغلوه وابعثوا لنا اياه خلينا نفرجي العالم كله ايش احنا عمالنا بنسوي. يعني هذه كلها شغلات حلوه ممكن احنا نستخدمها ونفرجي العالم انه احنا ممكن يعني نتابع معهم في التكنولوجيا والتطوير.
Okay, so I'm just aware of time, so I'll have to go a little bit faster here. Moving down to the next one from our Googley-Treats, the second one is called choice learning. So when we think about the classroom setting, we think about when do students get buy-in? Because kids are just like adults, and when we are going to go and buy a product, when we are learning something, we need to have a buy-in. That's just the way our brains work and the way we function. And students are not unlike that. They need some way of buy-in. And one of the big ways that you can gain their buy-in in a learning environment is giving them choices.
هلا احنا كنا عارفين انه لما ندخل على الصف وبدنا نشرح فكره او موضوع معين للطلاب لازم احنا نكسب تركيزهم. بدنا احنا نفرجيهم ايش الشيء اللي هم راح يكتسبوه او نحسسهم ان هم جزء من هاي التحديث التغيير. الاختيار يكون بناء على شيء هم يطلبوه. فممكن احنا عن طريق الجوجل. هاي
Many Googlers are joining us.
Yeah.
That's Mutassim's kids. I'm super grateful that Mutassim is taking time away from his family time to join us and help us learn about Google. So thank you very much for that, Mutassim.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, so for choice learning, we're almost done. Basically, we want to give choices to students. We want to give them chance to learn in a different way. So I want to introduce you to Chris Clementi, who actually posted this choice bingo. Oops, that's the wrong one. Choice bingo on Facebook, and I'm actually sharing it directly from Facebook. So if you look down below, you're able to actually click on different parts. Every box is embedded with a link and it's got a different app. So I'm just going to zoom in there. Stand by for that while Mutassim translates.
هلا في كريس كليمنتي وهو اللي انشا هذا الشيء التشويس ليرنينج. احنا ممكن زي ما حكينا نستخدمه مع طلابنا انه هم يكون في لهم خيار ينقوا ايش الشيء اللي هم بدهم او الترتيب اللي هم بدهم يمشوا فيه المواضيع اللي احنا بنحكي عنها.
So just like this Google slide, we had that whole idea of choice learning in the G Suite panel, which is what I wanted to show you that you could do as an example, right? And the lesson is that you can embed different pieces of content into one slide so that kids don't have to scroll through everything. They have everything in a one-stop shop, and it's related to infographics because we visually are appealed by what we see, right? Related to the five senses.
طبعا الحلو في كل هذا انه احنا بنقدر بسلايد واحد نحط كل هاي الافكار اللي احنا بدنا نحكي عنها، وبعدين كلها اشياء انه احنا بنطلع عليها، كلها اشياء فيجوال يعني احنا بنقدر نشوفها، وهذا كله طبعا بشد انتباه الاولاد بخليهم متفاعلين اكثر معنا.
So I really don't have time to do this piece of work justice, but as she said on her Facebook post, she has literally spent hours and hours putting all of these resources together for us. She says there, I just have to zoom out. She says there that she's part of it. She's packed with lesson ideas that took her hundreds of hours to put together. And she says, please feel free to use them with your students. And she's had over 100 of shares of this activity. As I said before, each box has its own link of a different activity that you could do with your students. So you could take a piece of content and ask them to code it with CS First using Scratch. You could get them to create using Photoshop an image and superimpose it or edit it to create something new. You could do something with 3D paint or create a funny video. One of my favorite ones, Flippity, we talked about that earlier, using puzzles or the spinning wheel to get kids interacting. I could go on for hours, so I'll let you translate, Mutassim.
طبعا انت لما تكبسوا على الصورة هاي اللي موجودة بتوديكم على دوكيومنت، جوات الدوكيومنت هاي في صور، كل صورة هي عبارة عن رابط برضه بتوديك ل يعني مرة بتروح على الجوجل دوكيومنتس، مرة على الدروينجز، مرة على سلايدز، يعني حسب ايش كل واحد فيهم هدول عبارة عن نشاط. فانتوا بتقدروا كل واحد تفتحوه وتشوفوا ايش النشاط اللي موجود جواته وتطبقوا هذا الشيء مع طلابكم.
So what a super great way to give kids, students in our classroom, the choice of how they would like to complete the assignments that we're asking them to do. It doesn't have to be anymore write in your book and write a paper. You can create a video, you can create a game for others to play, you can create a think card, you can do a flippity, you can screencast and create a tutorial. I know Flipgrid is not in there. You could use Flipgrid also to engage your audience. There are just so many awesome engaging ed tech tools that allow students to do that. And Chris has created this using Google Drawings. So on the next Google GEG Amman webinar series in January, we're going to take a closer look at Google Drawings. But this is basically one infographic Google drawing with all kinds of educational content that teachers can use in their classrooms, all in one document. It's awesome.
طبعا هذول كلهم زي ما حكينا صور احنا ممكن نكبس عليهم بيودونا على فعاليات معينه، معظمهم معمولين على الجوجل دراينجز، على الدراينجز هذه احنا ممكن نستخدمها نعمل عليها يعني كتير شغلات. بتقدروا انتم تاخذوا هاي الافكار وتطبقوها عندكم بالصف تبعكم زي ما بدكم.
So I'll let you guys click on that and have a look just because we're almost out of time. And I'm just going to quickly go over the last slide, which is the last tool. I always try to pick 3 tips and tricks to share with you guys that you guys could use in your classrooms after the end of this call. So coming into a new year, a new term, what better way to start than to set goals with your students? So I called this piece Google Goals.
طبعا هلا احنا بما انه بدنا نبلش سنه جديده وبدنا نبلشها بخير وسلامة، وبدنا نحط أهداف طبعا مع طلابنا، إنه الأهداف هذه كلها إحنا نتفق عليها مع الجوجل.
So with Google Goals, it's not just the idea of having a goal to be better with Google, although that's one of the main ideas is how can we be creative. It's more of how can we be creative with Google tools to help us with life.
طبعا هي الفكرة إنه إحنا نستخدم مش بس الأدوات، مش بس تطبيقات الجوجل، كيف إحنا الأدوات والأشياء اللي إحنا نتعلمها من الجوجل نستخدمها في حياتنا برضه.
So if we're an educator and we would like to set goals professionally, for example, and remember there's always 3 different areas of goals that we want to set. When we're looking at goal setting, we want to think about professionally related to work. If you're a student, so it would be related to your learning. And we want to talk about social goals, and we want to talk about emotional/behavior goals if you're a student. Hopefully you don't have behavior issues if you're an adult educator.
طبعا احنا عارفين انه احنا لما نيجي بدنا نحط اهداف، في عندنا 3 انواع من الاهداف. في عندنا الاول اللي هو لما بيكون انت عندك اهداف مثلا بالنسبه لشغلك، بالنسبه لعملك، بالنسبه لتطوير حالك. في عندك الشغله الثانيه اللي هي بالنسبه للطلاب، انه لما يحسنوا سلوكهم، يحسنوا ادائهم. الهدف الثالث اللي احنا ممكن برضه نحطه اللي هو حسب انه احنا نطور حالنا برضه بهاي الامور.
So basically we want to look at how can we use Google to help us do that. So I've created a screenshot here to a Google Keep that I created when I was thinking about setting my own personal goals, and I'll zoom in to show you while you translate that, Mutassim.
اوكي، طبعا هي هلا بدها تفرجينا الاهداف تبعونها الخاصه جورجينا اللي حطتهم. These are your goals, right?
Yeah, so these are just 3 goals that I picked for myself coming into 2020. I used a free image, royalty-free image, because it's important coming into the digital age that we give credit where it's due. So I chose royalty-free icons and images for this presentation, and I selected this one and I inserted it into a Google Keep, which is at the top here. And then the Google Keep is basically a way that you can keep notes. In this screenshot you can see here you can add collaborators, you can change the color of the keep, you can add images, which I just showed you, archive them and mark them as done. You can also add bullet points.
طبعا هي هلا حطت لنا على على الشاشه الاهداف تبعتها، حاطه على الجوجل كيب. احنا ممكن برضه هي حكينا عنها قبل شوي، ممكن احنا نحط اهدافنا على الجوجل كيب تتخزن هناك. فهاي هي الاهداف تبعت جورجينا.
So these are my goals for 2020 so far. So for well-being, I wanted to decrease my screen time just a little bit. I found that it increased quite a bit with my new the new things that I'm doing, like with GEG Amman. So that's taking more time with social media to support everybody, which is not a bad thing. But it just means that I have to balance my time a little and be able to be more productive. So I'm going to work on that towards my well-being. And then for EdTech, I want to be able to use an old Google app in a new way. And I spoke about that in my quote down below when I was talking about the digital versus analog age. We've got a lot of people talking about that. Some people saying digital shouldn't be allowed, or we shouldn't use it so much in certain areas. Some parents don't want their kids to have digital at all. It's always a big controversial topic, but in the age of digital versus analog, my personal take is always, why not have the best of both worlds and go digilog?
طبعا هي الهدف الاول تبعها انه هي تحسن من حالها، اللي هي بدها تقلل الوقت اللي بتقعد فيه على الشاشه، سواء لابتوب، تليفون، كل الشغلات هاي بدها تحاول تنقص من هذا الوقت اللي هي بتقعد عليه، مع انه هي هلا صارت تقعد زياده عشان موضوع GEG عمان وشغلها الجديد. فهاي اول هدف هي عمالها بتحاول تحققه. الثاني اللي هو بدها تستخدم تطبيق قديم لجوجل في صفها بطريقه جديده، يعني تستخدمه في طريقه جديده. فهذا برضه هدف يعني حلو هذا.
I think that one thing that people would not disagree with is that time is currency in education. I'm sure that time is currency in most jobs around the world.
طبعا احنا كنا عارفين انه الوقت هي عباره عن مصاري يعني، فهذا مش بس في عالم التعليم، في كل العالم.
So in that instance, my motto for 2020 is less is more. So trying to find ways to do old things creatively, maybe app smashing more, whatever the case may be, but more efficiently and productively. So my second goal, therefore, is to use an old Google app in my classroom, but in a new way to engage more and empower creative problem solving more.
طبعا هي الفكره وين، انه هي بدها بدل ما انه احنا يعني نحط وقت زياده واحنا عمالنا نتعلم شيء جديد، لا احنا نتعلم نستخدم الشغلات اللي احنا اصلا كنا نستخدمها من قبل في طرق تكون هي فعاله اكثر وتكون مفيده اكثر لنا، او ممكن احنا ندمجها مع ابلكيشنز ثانيين بحيث انه تكون كفاءتها اعلى.
And it's pretty fitting for me because I've been Googling for a little over 6 years. So I'd say that I'm pretty confident with a lot of the tools that exist in G Suite for education. So this gives me a nice challenge at really taking that fresh, new, crisp look and making inspiring learning for my students this year. So I'm really excited about that goal.
طبعا هي لها زمان تستخدم الجي سويت والجوجل والتطبيقات هاي كلها، فهي كثير متشجعة على هذا الموضوع، انه تتحدى حالها هي مع طلابها على استخدام هاي التطبيقات بشكل يكون فعال اكثر السنة الجاية.
And then the last goal that I'd written down there was related to Google certification. And in the box inside, how can we do that? Teachers all around the globe can set development goals to get better and equip themselves more with Google for Education tools by completing Google for Education certifications. So it's time to give a massive shout out to Ahmed, who completed his L1 certification this month. I know we posted about him, Ahmed Katoum, on Instagram and Twitter. So here's an official shout out on YouTube. Congratulations, Ahmed.
Good job. طبعا احنا هلا الرابط اللي حطيته هون هي انه جي سويت سيرتيفيكيشنز للمعلمين هاي. بدنا نحيي احمد قطوم على انجازه، انه هو اول واحد بيخلص، كان موجود عندنا في الورشه في الاجتماع اللي عملناه في بدايه الشهر، كان موجود وتشجع للفكره وقدم الامتحان، وهلا ما شاء الله صار ليفل 1 certified educator.
So
يا ابو احمد.
Sorry, I'm so bad. I have to learn to not interrupt you. I apologize.
It's okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of us in Amman, Jordan, who are brand new to G Suite for Education. So this is a great place for all of you guys to start getting your L1 level 1 certification for the core Google for Education apps. And then level 2 has a little bit more advanced. And then if you would like to do what Mutassim and Sajan and I do in the country, then you can certainly become a Google certified trainer. So my goal for myself is to become a Google for Education innovator. So that's the last certification I need to get. So that's my goal for 2020.
طبعا اي واحد بيقدر يدخل على هذا الرابط ويقدر يشوف المواد اللي موجوده وبيقدر يقدم الامتحان لحاله. احنا يعني كل الفكره من مجموعه الجوجل انه احنا بدنا نساعد الناس يكونوا ليفل 1 سيرتيفايد اقل ما فيها، وبيقدر بعدين يكمل يصير ليفل 2، وبعديها ممكن يصير مدرب زي انا وجورجينا وسجا، مدرب جوجل معتمد. طبعا في برضه كمان شغله رابعه اللي هو مبدع جوجل انوفيتور. طبعا جورجينا حطت في راسها ان هي بدها تصير جوجل انوفيتور في 2020، فجود لك جورجينا on your innovating program.
Thank you, and good luck to all of you Googlers. Whether you're doing a certification or not, there are tons of Google for Education applications to use with your students, and the resources are endless. So I'm really excited if you are going to have a go at using any of these resources in term 2. Please take lots of pictures. If you're not on social media yet, get on Twitter at least for professional learning and tag GEG Amman. Or at least send us an email to let us know you've done it so we can shout you out on the next webinar series at the end of January.
طبعا اي حدا عنده سوشيال ميديا على الفيسبوك على تويتر عنده اي من الشغلات هاي يستخدمها، الايكون بوردينج، التشويس ليرنينج، الاهداف، حط اهداف، يعني اي شيء بتعملوه، او اذا خلصتوا الامتحان برضه يعني اعملوا لنا تاج على اي من الانستغرام الفيسبوك تبعنا، ابعثوا لنا على المجموعه عشان المره الجايه برضه نبارك لكم، وان شاء الله يعني نضلكم منها للاعلى.
So we've got about a minute left till we reach the hour-and-a-half mark, so I think that's plenty for
Might
today.
as well just go for it. Might as well just finish that last minute.
So for the question and answers, I don't see that there's any questions. Do you see any in the Arabic section there, Mutassim, of the live chat?
Let me just check. No.
Okay, so if you come up with any questions or answers, please do fire them off either on social media or to us by email, and we can definitely add those to this Google slide document. I'm also interested to hear if everybody liked this format of changing the way that we are hosting our agenda each month. Using different Google apps. So we had the Google Docs last month at the end of November, and now we have the Google Slides. So please do give us a shout out and let us know if you enjoyed that.
طبعا برضو احنا غيرنا الفورمات تبعنا شوي، استخدمنا الجوجل سلايد بدل الجوجل دوكيومنتس المره هاي. احكوا لنا اذا في عندكم اي يعني اي شيء، اي نقد، اي شيء ممكن احنا نستفيد منه اذا عجبكم هذا الشيء عشان نضلنا مكملين عليه المره الجايه.
So definitely give us a shout out, and then if you would like to join GEG Amman so that you can participate in our meetups, in our live webinars, or if you have friends at other schools that would like to get on board with Google for Education, it is the coolest tool out there, then please send your friends the GEG Amman registration form.
طبعا اذا انتم بتعرفوا اي حدا في مدرستكم بحب انه يكون هو ضمن مجموعه جوجل اللي بيقدر بده يتابع مع يواكب التطورات هاي مع الجوجل والشغلات اللي راح تصير ان شاء الله في الاردن. احنا بال 2020 بدنا نغير الاردن. We're going to change the way education is done in this country ب 2020.
I love it.
الطريقه اللي العلم بنتقل فيه هون في الاردن راح نكون جوجل نمبر 1.
Let's do this. Yes.
Together.
So go ahead and fill in the registration form if you haven't. And that leads me to the last announcement before we say goodbye, which is the upcoming event for January. So Mutassim, would you like to introduce what is happening in a few weeks?
طبعا احنا هلا في عندنا we have our first official training session. اول تدريب رسمي راح يكون من المدربين المعتمدين في الأردن. حتكون ورشة مجانية اللي سجلوا for the people that registered in our form. I think it was last week we sent it out. It's going to be our first official training. We reserved our place in the business park from 8 a.m. till 12 on January the 18th. طبعا حيكون في 18 الشهر من الساعة 8 الصبح ل 12 المساء راح يكون التدريب في البزنس بارك. حجزنا هناك وإن شاء الله إحنا بنتشرف فيكم كلكم. راح يكون تعريف على تطبيق الدرايف والكلاس روم للي ما بيعرف عنهم. بتمنى إنهم هم يسجلوا، راح يكون كتير مفيد هذا بالنسبة لهم للي ما بيعرفوا عنها. This is going to be a Google Drive/Classroom, Google Classroom training session. And I suggest anybody that wants to learn more about these applications to be there on January the 18th. I think we should send out the form again.
Sure.
At the end of next week. We'll give the people some time to watch the video and see all these cool new stuff that are happening. And we'll send out the link again next week, and then if they can register. فراح نرجع نبعث الرابط مرة ثانية الأسبوع الجاي، واللي بده يسجل ممكن إنه يحضر معنا الورشة اللي راح تكون في 18 واحد إن شاء الله.
So the Google form is to come. We will send that out again. Yes.
And if you registered already, you don't need to register. Just إذا حجزتوا، إذا سجلتوا ما في داعي ترجعوا تسجلوا مرة ثانية. أنتم مقعدكم محجوز يعني ما تخافوا. Your seat is saved if you register.
Yes, we want to make sure that everyone is included. So if you've had an opening in your calendar or you just found out from a friend that this is happening and you still want to join, then please come, just email us, WhatsApp, whatever the case is, and you are more than welcome to join.
Is there anything else you wanted to add, Georgina?
No, we just want to thank everybody for coming out today to, well, not coming out, I should say, for logging in to the live,
online.
to the live
An hour and a
YouTube.
half, I'm going to kill you, Georgina.
I know, I'm sorry. But I appreciate it. I didn't time it correctly because I thought the translation, but yeah, it is taking us much longer.
Perfect. It's perfect. It's
But
perfect. It's better than last time. See, now next time it's going to be better.
Next time we'll hopefully
That's
get it
progress.
spot on. Yeah.
That's the way progress is done. You know, that's the message for 2020. You know, things take time. You know, you got to make some sacrifices. It doesn't work the first time, or it doesn't work the way you want it to. Next time it'll be better for sure.
I love that.
حتكون أحسن.
I love that. That's perfect ending to our second webinar. So thank you very much to Mutassim for being here and translating. Thank you to all of our viewers. And if you're watching this after the effect on another day, then thank you for taking your time to check out the Google updates and tips and tricks. And please remember to tag us if you're using any of this in the classroom, because we want to see the awesome stuff you guys are doing to make education better in Jordan.
الله يعطيكم العافية وشكرا لكم جميعا وإن شاء الله بنشوفكم في 18/1. باي.
Bye.